Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kentucky Small Business Development Center's weekly webinar. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the director of the Sbdc Center here in Louisville, Kentucky. As everyone comes in and gets settled, I'd like to take a few moments to share some information about the Kentucky Sbdc program. The Kentucky Small Business Development Center is a statewide program providing the professional expertise, tools, and information necessary for entrepreneurs to start, fund, and grow their businesses. We do this at no cost, thanks to the U.S. Small Business Administration, the University of Kentucky, as well as regional universities, colleges, and local economic development agencies. To learn more, please visit us at KentuckySbdc.com, and there you'll find additional resources I know you'll find helpful. At the top of the screen, you'll see the Wednesday webinar button to get information and register for next week's webinar. And if you check the subscribe button, you'll be automatically enrolled into all upcoming webinars. So even if you can't attend, you'll receive a replay link in your inbox so you can watch when you have more time. Also, if you would just click on the More tab and scroll down to webinars, you'll find the replays of all our Wednesday webinars we've done over the last year, and you can check those out and watch them over and over. If you'd like to request personal assistance, you can email us at info@KentuckySbdc.com or call us at 1-888-414-7232. And if you look to the right of your screen, you'll find the chat feature as always. And if you have any questions for our presenter, just kind of put them there and we'll get to them at the end. And just to make sure everything's working well and you can hear me, go ahead and say hello and tell us where you're joining from. I'm always interested in seeing where we have people joining. Looks like Carl is here from Lexington, Kentucky. Hello. Lisa, how are you, Lisa, from Covington? And Radcliffe, Kentucky with Berna. So just check it out. Again, I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the director of the Louisville Center here, and we're one of 17 centers throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And just as a reminder, a recording of today's webinar will be emailed to you later on this afternoon. So July and August, this is such a great month and time of the year to really take a mid-year reset and really kind of think about what is, what you want to do for the upcoming year. And a couple of years ago, I was going down a Google rabbit hole and came across our speaker today, Mark Pettit. Got on his email list and has been following him for a while. Mark is a great business coach, accountability coach, time management guru. He is the CEO and founder of Leukemia Consulting. He comes to us. He's our first international speaker. He comes to us from Colchester, Essex, in the United Kingdom. And Mark has a lot of great content and expertise, and he helps his clients reach their goals. And as we've been kind of talking about lately, most of this stuff in your business starts at the top with you, and Mark is a great resource. So Mark, welcome today. I'm so happy that you were able to join us today.
Thank you, David. It's really great to be here, and thank you so much for the opportunity to come on.
All right. Well, I'm just going to get out of the way, and let's just jump right in and talk about how to achieve some bigger goals here.
Excellent. Thank you, David. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all well. I hope you all had a fantastic 4th of July weekend. And it was a great opportunity to kind of spend some time outside of your business, ready to kind of come back in. So I'm going to say the title of this presentation is a goal setting framework to achieve bigger and better goals. So this is a goal setting framework that I use with all of my clients. And once you start using it, it's a very, very simple process you can kind of use for all of your goals, both business goals and personal goals, again and again. So let's get started. So what I'm going to do, so this is a outline of today's talk. So as I said, I'm going to kind of share a simple framework to help you set and achieve bigger and better goals. I think as you kind of grow your business, sometimes it's kind of easy to take on a little bit too much. And, you know, as the business grows, there's an increasing amount of kind of complexity and complication that you have to deal with. Sometimes with that kind of additional amount of work and additional amount of responsibility, additional amount of opportunities, you can lose clarity in terms of, you know, what you actually really want to achieve and what the simplest path to achieve that result actually is. So goal setting is the best way to give yourself clarity in terms of exactly what you want to achieve in the future, and to create a simple plan and path to achieve it. So the kind of outline of today's talk is, so I'll just give a very top line overview in terms of who I am. Then I'll kind of touch on, you know, why set goals, why are goals important, and what are the benefits of goal setting. Then I'll talk about some things to consider when setting goals. Next, I'll run through my 3-stage goal setting process. Then I'll talk about the importance of setting monthly and weekly goals to build momentum and progress towards your kind of longer term goals. I think there are quite a few mistakes people make when setting goals. So I'll run through probably some of the biggest mistakes to avoid when goal setting, a little bit of summing up at the end, and then kind of open to questions at the end. So let's move on. So just said a little brief introduction. So I'm Mark Pettit. So I'm a business coach and accountability coach. So I work with entrepreneurs and small business owners at every kind of stage of their growth, from startups to businesses that have been in operation for a year, to working with business owners that have kind of been there for 10 years but still want to kind of grow and achieve bigger and better goals. So I work with clients in the UK, the US and Canada at the moment. My kind of specialism is I'm very much focused on helping business owners free up their time so they can kind of grow their business and achieve their goals faster. And the key element of being able to do this is to clarify your goals, understand the obstacles that hold you back from achieving your goals, so you can then develop a clear plan and path to overcome the obstacles, achieve your goals, and create a business and life you love. Before setting up my coaching business, I was in corporate for 25 years. Latterly, for 5 years, I was managing partner of a large marketing agency, where I was kind of responsible for the strategic direction of the agency and led a team of 40, working on blue chip brand accounts, including Heineken, Pernod Ricard, a number of other FMCG brands, and leading national newspapers. So it's just a little bit of background in terms of who I am. So let's just talk about why set goals. I mean, there are many reasons to kind of set goals, but here are a few just to kind of get you started. I think probably the biggest thing that goals do is they help you clarify the future that you actually want to achieve. Knowing where you're going and what your destination looks like gives you the ability to kind of create a really structured path and plan to be able to achieve the goals. I think having goals, I kind of mentioned about when you're running a business, there's lots of complexity, complication, opportunities. Goals provide really, really clear direction and focus, which means that you don't get overwhelmed with all of the things that you have on your plate and all the things that you could do in your business. Having goals helps you manage your time better, because you know very, very clearly what the best use of your time is, because you have a specific outcome that you want to try and reach. And because you can kind of manage your time better and you're clear on your priorities, then that naturally helps you increase your productivity. So it's a lot more about working smarter, working less hours, but being more focused on a small number of priorities. Having goals provides motivation and excitement. You know, when you have exciting, compelling goals, you're, you know, emotionally committed in achieving the goal, and you're intellectually engaged in taking action on achieving the goal. Goals kind of give you really, really clear measurements to kind of work towards, and a deadline to kind of achieve the goal in. When you have kind of generic outcomes that you want to achieve, you want to make more money, you want to have more clients, more time off, it's harder for your brain to really take action on it. Having the measurements in place gives you a much, much clearer focus for taking action. Goals provide accountability. They provide personal accountability, because you kind of know where you're headed and you kind of know what you want to do. They can provide accountability from working with a coach or a consultant, or, you know, working alongside other business owners who can kind of help keep you on track towards a specific goal. I think one of the biggest things that goals do is they eliminate overwhelm. I mean, overwhelm and procrastination are probably two of the biggest struggles that small business owners face in terms of making progress on their goals, because there, as I said, there's so many items that could go on a to-do list every day. It's deciding which is the best ones to take action on. And finally, goals help you utilize your biggest strengths. It's easy when you're running a business to try to do everything, even some of the things that you're not really that good at and you maybe don't really enjoy doing. But when you have a clear destination that you're really excited about achieving, you want to utilize your biggest strengths to help you get there. Okay. So there are a number of, I guess, considerations to think about when setting goals. I think probably one of the biggest ones is to consider the purpose of your goals. You know, what exactly do you want to achieve with your goals? What's the kind of end outcome that you want to reach? You know, the why of your goals, to put it one way. Secondly, it's also important to consider why achieving the goal is important to you. Because if it's important to you, it's going to be motivating and exciting, and you're going to want to take action. And then understand the difference achieving the goal will actually make in your business and life. You know, when you've actually achieved that goal, what will it allow you to do? Will achieving a goal help you, you know, create a new product or service? Will it allow you to have more free time to spend with your family or to pursue your passions? What is the end, is the goal within the goal, so to speak? As I kind of touched on earlier, it's important to make each goal specific and measurable. And being measurable can be a number or it can be an event. So it could be a specific turnover number that you want to reach, or as an event, it could be to launch a new product or service. And then to put a deadline to your goal. So it might be a deadline of 30 days, 60 days, today, next week. Then it's important to consider how the goal is bigger and better than you've achieved in the past. if the goal isn't that you're kind of working towards, or your setting isn't really that much bigger than you've achieved in the past, you probably won't be as excited and motivated to take action. So it needs to kind of be, an element of progress, an element of stepping forward, and it's an element of growth that you want to take action on your goals. I think one of the other important things is, as small business owners, it's easy to feel isolated. It's easy to feel alone, without a sounding board, without different perspective, without guidance. So it's important to consider who can help you achieve your goals. Whether that's, your team, whether it's a coach, mentor, whether it's other business owners, it's important to think about who can help you on your journey. Okay. So I'm just going to touch on the goal setting framework that I'm going to run through. So this goal setting framework contains 5 key elements. The aim of the framework is to help you gain the clarity, confidence, and capability to achieve bigger and better goals in the future. Now, the first element of this goal setting framework is one that most people miss out on when they set goals. They just kind of jump into the goal setting process. But this is a really, really important step to set bigger and better goals. It's to review your past quarter's goal achievements. Now, I kind of use quarterly goals as a framework for most things. This could be, if you chose to, it could be 6 months. It could be, goals that you've achieved in the last 12 months. But the important thing is to celebrate the goal achievements that you've kind of made in a specific period of time, because when you kind of celebrate achievements, you feel far more positive. You feel like you've got some kind of momentum, and you feel more confident about achieving bigger and better goals in the future. The next step is to set goals for the next 12 months. I think probably 2 years ago, I would have suggested setting goals, or a bigger vision for 3 years. But with everything that's happened globally in the past 18 months, I think it's a much better time frame to set it for 12 months. So what goals do you want to achieve in the next 12 months? I try to keep the number of goals smaller than maybe some other people. So I would suggest setting what are the 10 most important goals you want to achieve in the next 12 months. The reason why I suggest 10 is I think sometimes we can get overwhelmed with setting far too many goals for ourselves, rather than focusing on a specific number of priorities that can really help you achieve the level of growth that you actually want. And from those 12-month goals, as I said, I suggest setting quarterly goals, so the next 3-month goals, and to have 5 key goals that you want to achieve in the next quarter. A good step in addition to this is, once you have your 5 goals that you want to achieve in the next quarter, is to pick one really, really big one that you want to focus on. From your quarterly goals, I'm a big believer in setting monthly goals, because it builds motivation and you can achieve quite a lot in a month. And from your monthly goals, that allows you to set weekly goals, which can be supported by a very small number of daily goals. Okay, so here's part 1. So as I said, celebrate goal achievements from the previous quarter, or whatever period of time you want to. The big thing here is confidence. When you feel confident, you can take action, and you feel that you can achieve something bigger and better than you've achieved in the past. So what I would do is I would take a moment to think about the 5 biggest goals you've achieved in the last quarter. Now we're in July, so if you kind of use the January to December 12-month period, we're just starting Q3. So if you want to review your last quarter, that would be April to June. And then once you've thought about what the 5 biggest goals you've achieved, is to identify why achieving those goals was so important to you. Why did they matter? And then to identify the difference achieving those goals actually made in your business and life, and to identify some of the people that actually helped you achieve those goals. If you can identify some people that have helped you achieve those goals, it's, from a gratitude point of view, it's quite nice to kind of reach out to them and say how much they've actually helped you on your journey to achieve your goals. I think that David is going to be sharing some of these kind of worksheets that I've kind of put together. So this is a really, really simple worksheet that you can use to lay out the 5 goals that you've achieved in the last quarter. Okay, so on to part 2. So setting your 12-month goals. So I've always kind of found with, working with clients and working in corporate and working with some big brands, that the best way to actually set your annual goals is to imagine that you've actually already achieved them. Is, as Stephen Covey would said, is start with the end in mind, is to put yourself in a position that you've achieved the goal, so you kind of get a sense and the level of excitement about what achieving those goals actually kind of feels like. So to do that, so imagine it's 1 year from today, so that would be July the 6th, 2022, and think about what goals do you want to have achieved that will make you feel really happy with your progress. So the kind of starting point, to think about that is just to write all of your goals down, everything that you can think of that you want to achieve in the next 12 months. So these can be both personal goals and business goals. I kind of look at everything very much holistically, that, a happy personal life makes you much, much better in business, and a happy business life, creates a better personal life. This could be increased revenue, more clients, new service offering, more time with family, pursue a specific passion, better health, better relationship, increased capabilities, whatever is most meaningful to you. Once you have all of the goals written down, it's then to write down your top 10 for the next 12 months. I'm quite a big believer in actually kind of writing your goals down on a bit of paper or a notebook or a journal or whatever it is, something that you can cut out and keep with you for the year. Then, in a similar sort of process that I kind of look at everything, is identify why the goal is important and what difference the goal will make. And again, ensure that all of the goals are measurable, whether it's a number or an event. When it's measurable, you're far more motivated to take action. And this just a little overview of what the 12-month worksheet looks like. Okay, so the next stage, so we kind of started with reviewing your goal achievements to kind of make you feel kind of energized and confident about what you can achieve in the future. Then we've set 12-month goals, so we kind of imagine having achieved these most important goals in the next 12 months. So we've kind of gone from the past we've gone to the future, and now we're coming back to the present. So we're using our 12-month goals to set specific quarterly goals, because having quarterly goals and achieving quarterly goals helps you ladder up and make confident progress towards achieving your 12-month goals. I think the big thing about having quarterly goals is you can actually achieve a huge amount in 3 months if you're really focused and productive and clear in terms of exactly what you want to achieve. Short-term goals just give you a lot of kind of motivation to work towards, and they're things that can be easily tracked, so you can kind of see the progress you're making day to day, week to week, month to month. So again, not to kind of get too overwhelmed with having too many goals to work towards in a quarter. I suggest having 5 measurable goals to kind of work towards. So if we kind of, now we're in Q3 of 2021, is to think about what 5 goals you want to achieve in the period July to September 2021. I think one of the other important things to think about is once you're clear on your goals, is to then think about, okay, what are the obstacles that will stop me achieving those goals, the thing that will hold me back at the moment, and to identify all of the different obstacles that will stop you achieving the goals. Then from that, you can identify probably the 3 biggest obstacles that hold you back, so you can kind of create some specific actions to overcome them. So I guess you kind of look at that as almost kind of slightly the negative side of things that you need to overcome to achieve your goals. Sitting alongside that is to identify the biggest opportunities you have right now to capture and achieve your next quarter's goals. Where do you really want to focus your time? Where's there a big opportunity to make fast progress on achieving your bigger goals? Again, probably select the 3 biggest opportunities that you want to work on in the next quarter. And again, is to identify the specific actions you can kind of take to make progress on your goals. It can be easy sometimes when we kind of set ourselves some really exciting goals, and they're kind of slightly bigger than we've achieved in the past, to begin to procrastinate and think about how we're actually going to be able to move forward on achieving the goals. So a simple tip to use is just to lay out what the first actions, if you find yourself procrastinating, is to lay out what the first action or specific step you can take to make progress on the goals. Okay, and again, here's a very, very simple worksheet that you can kind of use as a template to set your quarterly goals. I think once you start using these kind of templates for quarterly goals, annual goals, reviewing your goal achievement, they'll just become a natural part of your working life, and there'll be things that you can kind of refer to again and again. Okay, part 4. I think having monthly goals from your quarterly goals is really important to build a higher level of focus and direction. All of my clients, we always set monthly goals. So there's something very, very specific that they want to work towards and achieve at the end of the month. And I think sometimes some of my clients feel that having and working towards monthly goals is more important to them than having the quarterly goals, it just makes that much of a difference in how they manage and focus their time. I think the other thing is kind of touch on here is it really helps you prioritize. It really helps you simplify where you should invest your energy, where you should invest your focus. I think having monthly goals also gives you a higher level of accountability to yourself. So you know very, very clearly what a good result looks like at the end of the month. Again, just kind of following a similar kind of process is to have 5 measurable goals you want to achieve in the next month that will help you achieve your quarterly goals. Everything with kind of goal setting and goal achievement is all about laddering up. It's building morale, building momentum, building motivation, but making very, very clear progress towards your kind of bigger goals. Because I'm sure you've all experienced it. When you kind of achieve a goal, you're more motivated to want to achieve something a little bit bigger. When you've had a small win, when something has gone well, you kind of want more of the same kind of feeling. You want to have more of these wins. Okay. So again, kind of laddering up. I also suggest setting weekly and daily goals. I think planning and setting goals kind of goes hand in hand in terms of setting up your week the right way, to ensure that you actually have a productive week and you don't end the week wondering what you actually did with your time and what you actually achieved. So I always suggest using either Friday afternoon or Sunday afternoon as a great time to set your goals for the week, so you're really clear on your priorities, which then helps you schedule in the activities you're going to be doing to help you achieve your goals. Having kind of weekly and daily goals removes a lot of the complexity and a lot of the overwhelm and creates a much higher level of simplicity. At the start of the week, you're very, very clear in terms of what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and the same thing in the morning. It means that you kind of don't start your day wondering exactly what you want to do, where you should invest your time, and ensures you don't get kind of overwhelmed with everything that has to be done at the start of the day. The meetings, the admin, following up, so on and so forth. You know exactly what you want to kind of achieve. So I suggest setting 5 weekly goals and having 3 daily goals. And with your daily goals, because it's quite a small number, is to take the opportunity to review your 3 goals at the end of the day. So what were your 3 achievements at the end of the day? What were your 3 wins? So it means that you hopefully started the day being, very, very clear in terms of what you want to achieve, and you end the day feeling really positive, really confident about what you've achieved, which means you then have a positive day the next day. Okay, so there are a number of, when you kind of set goals, there are a number of things that it's probably wise to avoid. These are kind of mistakes I see again and again, and there is a kind of a better way of setting goals and kind of working towards your goals. So probably the number one kind of mistake or thing to avoid is setting too many goals, whether it's annual goals, whether it's quarterly goals, weekly goals, whatever, giving yourself far too much to do and too much to work on is overwhelming. And it can be difficult to decide which of those goals should get the most focus, get the most attention, and should take up more of your time. I think the other thing about setting too many goals is that, say you set 15 goals for the week, and you achieve 10 of those goals. And even if those 10 goals were really great achievements during that week, there's a propensity to look at it as a failure, that you didn't actually achieve all of those goals that you set out to achieve. And that's just the wrong mindset to kind of be in. It should always be about making progress on a small number of goals that are crucially important in moving you forward. So it's wise not to set too many goals. The other kind of goal setting mistake to avoid is making your goals vague. So making your goals very generic. I kind of gave a few examples earlier, but I want to increase my revenue. I want to increase my profit. I want to get more clients. I want to introduce new products. I want to introduce new services. I want to bring on a couple more team members. I want to collaborate. It's being vague just doesn't give you a higher level of focus or a clear plan and path to work towards. It's really important to be very specific about what you want to achieve and understand the benefit of achieving a specific goal rather than a generic goal. I've kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. It's not setting measurements or deadlines to your goal. If you don't have measurements to your goal, how do you know when you've actually really reached your goal? It's something that can just go on and on and on. But if there's a specific number or an event that you want to try and achieve that you're working towards, you kind of know when you've actually achieved the goal, where you can celebrate that goal achievement and think about some other bigger and better goals that you can work towards. Alongside that is having a deadline to your goal. A deadline, again, a lot of this is all about creating clarity in terms of what you're working towards and a specific focus. So having a clear deadline to your goal just narrows that focus, whether that's 30 days, whether it's 14 days, whether it's 3 months, whatever it is, having a deadline to your goal is really important. I think sometimes we choose goals that we think we should set for our business, rather than setting goals that we actually really want to achieve. If you're not emotionally invested or emotionally committed to achieving the goals that you've set, the likelihood is that you'll probably get bored. You won't want to work on achieving that goal, and the goal will fall by the wayside, which means that you could have wasted valuable time on something that isn't actually really that important to you. So it's important to be emotionally invested in the goals that you want to achieve. Not breaking your goals down is another mistake to avoid. Is once you kind of have a picture of what the goal is, and you've set some measurements and you've set a deadline, so that's kind of like the future goal. It's coming back to the present moment and looking at the goal and laying out some very clear action steps and priorities that you can kind of take to make progress on the goal. Another one that I kind of see quite regularly is when people set goals, is they set a goal and then they kind of go, okay, so what do I actually need to do? What's the first thing that I should kind of do to make progress on the goal? Actually, a great starting point is to identify the obstacles that stand in the way of achieving your goals. Identifying the obstacles and coming up with a plan and strategy to overcome the obstacles means that you can kind of make much faster progress. I mean, there may be one or two obstacles that you identify that stop you making progress, that if you can actually overcome them, can help you make much faster progress, and they can help you overcome some of the smaller obstacles that you might have identified. So identifying the obstacles is crucial. When we kind of want to make progress on our goals, when we want to kind of make progress in most of the things that are important to us in life, it's essential to have some level of support or accountability to achieve our goals. I mean, we all lose motivation. We experience obstacles that we may not know how to break through. We may have too much going on, which means that we kind of lose sight of where we should spend our time. So getting some kind of support and accountability to help you achieve your goals can create very big breakthroughs and allow you to make faster progress. Said whether that's a group of peers, whether that's team members, whether that's working with a coach or a mentor, but just kind of having someone by your side to give you guidance, support, perspective, and accountability will help you make much faster progress on your goals. And I think one of the biggest ones, again, that sometimes is just forgotten about is actually not celebrating progress on your goals. One of my clients just reached 50,000 subscribers on YouTube yesterday, and because of working with me, she made a big deal of celebrating her progress on her goals. I think when you celebrate specific achievements on your goals, it just makes you feel so much better, and it gives you the confidence and the motivation to take the next step on achieving much bigger goals. Cool. So we've kind of come to the end of the kind of core of the presentation. So I just want to sum up, I guess, some of the key points. Goals give you long-term motivation and short-term direction. Goals just help you get really clear in terms of what you want and what you want to achieve in the future. And that kind of clarity just gives you a greater degree of direction and focus. When setting goals, ensure that they're measurable and have a deadline attached, and always have a combination of long-term goals, so a kind of a bigger vision to work towards, and short-term goals, so that gives you the focus to kind of make the faster progress that you want. Always celebrate goal achievement and track your progress along the way. I think I've kind of talked quite a lot about having measurable goals. One of the really big benefits of having measurable goals, it allows you to track your progress along the way. So you can kind of check, you can see the milestones, you can kind of see the very tangible progress that you're making. And don't set too many goals to avoid overwhelm and procrastination, because procrastination can waste hours, days, weeks of time, and overwhelm can just make you feel very stuck and very anxious. So I think probably the biggest piece of advice I've give with setting goals is just to simplify. just make it a really, really simple process about deciding where you want to be in the future and creating a really simple plan and path to get there. Cool. So I'm just going to kind of touch on a couple of next steps if you want to connect with me further. So if you kind of want to kind of achieve bigger and better goals and grow your business faster, one of the things that I offer entrepreneurs and small business owners who are interested in achieving bigger and better goals, a free 30-minute clarity call with me. During the call, I'll help you kind of clarify what goals you want to achieve in the future, identify the obstacles that hold you back, and you'll come away with a clear roadmap to help you achieve your goals faster and easier. I write a lot about goal setting, time management, and productivity. So if you want to read some of my articles, you can visit my blog. I also have a couple of other things. So I kind of created a really simple one-page daily productivity planner, which helps you really simplify how you want to kind of spend your day and identify the 3 biggest priorities for the day. So you can kind of download that. You can also sign up for my weekly newsletter. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, that would be great. I'd love to connect with you. There's a link there. Or you can just email me, mark@leukemiaconsulting.co.uk, to either set up a call or if you want to do any kind of follow-up. I think, David, you've either already got the worksheets, or they'll be sent through a little bit later. So that's kind of the end. So thank you so much for listening to me talk about goal setting today. And hopefully it's been valuable. There's been some good insight for you, and the worksheets will be useful for you going forward. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark. That was spectacular. And as you mentioned, if you click on the files button on your screen, or you can download these worksheets right now, or we'll send them to you a little bit later on. And Kathleen says, this was really very helpful and informative. So she says, thank you to you.
Great.
I do have some questions. Maybe we have a little bit of time left. In the beginning, when you were mentioning about starting with the annual goals, do you find it helpful to kind of split your goals into 2 categories, like personal and business, or do you just lump them all together?
I personally lump them all together.
You really?
Yeah, I do, rather than
counterintuitive,
kind of breaking them out. I guess I kind of look at everything very holistically. So it's just having a set of goals that are crucially important to you, business goals and personal goals. And I think sometimes there might be years where the business goals significantly outweigh the personal goals, but there'll be years where you've made really significant progress in your business, and actually what's really important to you at that time is some personal goals, some family goals, relationship goals, whatever. So yeah, I include them all together.
That's interesting. I will say it is really helpful to have somebody like you start that process. I mean, somebody to talk to like you, a coach like you, that kind of helps bounce ideas and kind of keep you focused. When I sit down to do something like this, sometimes just the thought of the future is kind of overwhelming. So it's great to have an outside resource and a kind of a person that's objective, I guess, to kind of help with that. Yeah,
I think sometimes it's the old adage that it's quite difficult to see the label from inside the bottle. It's having an outside perspective, having a sounding board can be very useful, just in terms of it might help you think about things slightly differently, give you a different way of looking at things than you may be able to do on your own.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat, and I'll forward them over to Mark, and we'll get to them. So another question I do have, when you start the goal from the very beginning, do you do like a giant visioning sort of exercise where you just throw out all the possible goals and then try to, what's the starting process before you even start to clarify on what the next steps are?
Yeah, I exactly that. I think it's getting a big sheet of paper, big A3 sheet or A4 sheet, and just write everything down that you want to achieve within a specific time frame, everything that's really, really important to you. And then from that list, you can begin to, pull out the things that are really, really important and kind of move to the side things that are kind of nice to haves. I think when you kind of go through that process, it becomes clearer during it which are the goals that are the things that will actually make the biggest difference, and the ones that they're okay, but they're not really that important. But yeah, start with absolutely everything down on a bit of paper.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best way to do it.
Good. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. And Lisa has one. Hey, Lisa. Lisa comes every week. I'm really thankful you do. Lisa wants to know, what is an example of a goal that you have set up to start your consulting business?
That's a great question. Thanks, Lisa. I think I had two goals when I started my coaching business. The first one was, I actually had three. The first one was to get a client. So that was the first goal, is to have someone that was actually going to pay me. And then kind of after that, I then set a next financial milestone. So I kind of set a milestone of trying to get to £5,000 a month. And then I set another milestone, which was number of clients. So getting to 10 clients to work with me. But it all starts with that first domino and kind of thinking about what the first domino is. And obviously the first domino was getting one client through the door.
So when you start setting goals and you break them down, do you set the goal do you work through all your worksheets at one sitting? So you start with the annual goal and then go ahead and break them down into weekly goals?
Yeah, so let's start with the annual goals.
Mm-hmm.
And once I've kind of laid out, once I've got a really, really clear picture of what my 10 annual goals are, I would then set quarterly goals. So I then work out what the most important goals I want to achieve in the next quarter are, that will kind of ladder up towards helping me achieve the annual goals. And then once I've got my quarterly goals, I just set some really small monthly goals. And then I think once you kind of set the quarterly goals, you then kind of move it aside, and it's something that you kind of review every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Then you'd have your monthly goal and your weekly goal and your daily goal. But I think it's the daily goal becomes the most important. Is kind of what progress can you kind of make today, and then you kind of, because you've got a picture in your mind of what the weekly goals look like. It's just the daily goals focus on, and then you review your weekly goals. At the end of the week, set the next week's goals based on what your monthly goals are, and just kind of keep the same process. But it's often, it's a review, isn't it? And it might be that you had a fantastic week and you're actually able to knock off one of your monthly goals. So potentially then you change what your monthly goals are. It's just an ongoing process of review and resetting.
Mm-hmm. So I've seen some people do this, and I'm wondering if you do the same. Do you post your goals like in a prominent place, so you have to walk past them 100 times a day and constantly being reminded of them, or what's your process?
I don't. I have them on a bit of paper, and I have them on my desk. But that's the only place that that I have them. I think, I mean, I guess I would look at them every day, but I don't have them in, you know, a number of places, but I always kind of look at them every day.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And you were mentioning, just I know we had talked about this earlier. You know, I want to have you back on to talk about a little bit about procrastinating. So you mentioned that if you're working on your goals and procrastination is an issue, you know, laying out that first step, you know, is a good way to kind of move forward. Can you share just a little bit, a couple of little tips and tricks for folks to get started on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one with procrastination is to work out why you're procrastinating. is to really try to lay out all of the causes of why you procrastinate. Mm-hmm. Because there's lots of different reasons why we procrastinate. I think we procrastinate when the project that we want to do or the goal we want to work for just feels really scary. And because it feels really scary and it's bigger than we kind of have achieved in the past, we don't know what the first step is, which is why I always kind of say, you know, what's one step you can kind of do? I think sometimes with procrastination, it's because we lack the capability, or we feel like we lack the capability or skills to take action. And I think when that's the case, it's to think about, okay, well, what can I do? What do I have the capabilities to do and to take action on? And are there some other people that could help me take action on some of the areas that I'm not quite so good at? I think one of the other really good ones is to think about what it would actually look like if I did take action. So if I did take action on a thing that I'm procrastinating on, what outcome or result would it actually help me achieve? And if that vision is really exciting and really motivating, that might inspire me to take action. If it's not, maybe there's a real reason for my procrastination, that this project isn't maybe worth pursuing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Lisa says, thanks for the answer. That was very helpful, she says. Marsha would like to know, he says, if you have established your yearly goals and as you get 1 or 2 quarters into the year, you realize that you won't be able to meet these yearly goals, how do you handle that?
I think the important thing about goals is that they can be changed as you kind of make progress. And I think that's why having quarterly goals and seeing the progress you're making on your quarterly goals can make all the difference. It's if you can kind of see quite clearly after Q1 and then Q2 that you're just not making anywhere near the progress that you actually need to hit your annual goal, then that's the time to change your annual goal. Is the kind of it you know, 12 months goals are not fixed in stone. They can kind of be changed along the way. It's all about making positive progress towards something that is important to you. So you kind of judge based on how you're performing with your Q1 and Q2 goals, where you think realistically you could reach by the end of 12 months. So kind of make that course correction as you go.
I guess that's the importance of looking back and making adjustments, because I mean, no plan goes as planned, as we all know.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So Kathleen says, excellent advice, Mark, on the procrastination. She liked that. So, and then Marshall said, thank you. Cool. Back on the goal, when you mentioned goal setting as being important, that they aren't vague. Do you find it helpful in the wording of the goals? Like if you, for example, add action words or have the metrics built into the goal. Is that something that you use as a best practice?
Absolutely. Yep, definitely. I think action words. I mean, there are a number of ways to do it. One way to do it is to write down your goals if you achieved it. So that's one way to do it. Action words, definitely, but yeah, within the goal, always have the measurement and the deadline. So it's very, very clearly fixed in stone exactly what the goal is and what you want to achieve. Whether it's as I said, a revenue target, whether it's a client number target, whether it's achieving launching a specific product, that description always should be included within the actual goal.
Mm-hmm. Looks like all the questions we have.
Cool.
Mark, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I know we're kind of cutting into your evening, you being in the UK and all, and tonight's a big night for you guys with the football playoffs and all. So I appreciate that. And I do want to encourage everyone to reach out to Mark. He is a spectacular resource, and if nothing else, get on his email list. I always look forward to his weekly newsletters. They're very helpful and something I look forward to. So I encourage you to do so. Mark, thank you. I really appreciate it. And as I'd really like to have you back again, let's talk about your tips for procrastinating and time management. You are an expert in those fields as well. And I think everybody would really enjoy hearing what you have to say about that. Thank you, David. Yeah, love to do it. Really, really appreciate the opportunity to come on. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you. And we'll send the slides and the replay this afternoon, as well as Mark's contact info. So feel free to reach out to him. Mark, thanks again. And good luck in the playoffs. Thanks so much. Have a good one. Have a great evening. Okay. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye.